All right, guys, and we're live here on Phoenix 92.5 FM and Nerd to Know Media, YouTube, Spotify, all that good stuff. So how are you guys? How's everybody doing? How are you, Dave?
It's a great day for wrestling, everybody. Welcome back to the only show hosted by fans that don't hate wrestling.
Well, you were saying before we went on that Payback wasn't your cup of tea.
It wasn't my cup of tea, but I certainly don't hate wrestling because of it.
Fair. That's the main thing. Once you don't hate wrestling, that's the main thing. I did see someone talk about kind of go down that rabbit hole this week where they're like, oh, watching Raw, I'm having wrestling burnout, and I'm like, that's you shouldn't do that. Don't watch so much wrestling. Exactly, particularly modern wrestling, because nothing will burn you out faster than watching weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks of content. It's just not good, particularly from the modern product, which is very, very, very trying at the best of times, but better than it's been. What have you thought about the Thunderdome now that we've had 2 pay-per-views during it?
I love the concept. I think it's great. I'm a big person who's huge into pyro and special effects. I love being able to turn the fans' monitors off so that you can turn that into just a giant LED board around the ring. I think a lot of that's really, really cool. I think there's a lot of risk involved with letting fans
absolutely
host the stream. I'm seeing more and more stories each week about stuff that's slipping through. I'm not sure how you fix that unless you put them on a delay. But if you put them on a delay, then how is it actual reacting? So that's something that the tech team needs to figure out with WWE. That or just fill it with all family members, quite frankly.
Yeah, I just think it's, I know they have an email block list, but that doesn't really seem to be doing anything. So have an IP block list, if you're going to block that IP away from, that's what I would do if I was in charge there.
The only thing that upsets me is I keep trying to sign up and I can't get into the Thunderdome.
Well,
tried multiple times.
Kenny Omega was apparently able to get into the Thunderdome.
Was he?
Yeah, he was there on SmackDown like last week.
That's
pretty good.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
So, yeah. Although stuff like that is harmless compared to some of the other stuff we've seen, which is like, reprehensible, really. When you, in the grand scheme of things, it's like, oh my god, what are you doing? But we did have a pay-per-view this week, and we were going to have Adam on this week, but he watches wrestling less than you, Dave. So
is that possible?
He wouldn't watch it at all. You just kind of go back to the past and watch pay-per-views.
Well, see, I do watch a lot. I do.
Right.
I'm very selective and very eclectic with what I watch.
But Adam is completely tapped out, so it would be unfair to ask him to watch the pay-per-view when he hasn't watched the product in ages. So
I wouldn't want to force him to watch a pay-per-view.
Particularly a modern pay-per-view. Like, we're going to force him to watch older stuff, but at least it's decent.
Oh, and it was his choice, too,
exactly.
which is great. And it's actually going to be, oddly enough, a timely and relevant subject.
Absolutely, because Brock Lesnar now is a free agent and we don't know where he is. What he's going to do.
No idea what happened. See, this is actually, Dave does follow the news a little bit.
You see that. Well, that's why I can't do this segment, because you just watch a pay-per-view. I can only do it certain weeks. That's why it's a treat,
I've been paying a bit more attention to the news because I'm trying to figure out where my guy is. The heck's going on? Where is AJ Styles? What is happening? He wasn't at SummerSlam. Neither was Jeff Hardy. He was not at Payback, even though he was featured heavily in all the advertisements for Payback. And now
I can tell you where he was. On SmackDown.
Well, I know he's on SmackDown.
That's where he's on SmackDown, so you can watch him on SmackDown.
No, but apparently, is that going to be true? Because now Heyman's on SmackDown, and there is quite a beef to be had there.
Well, what looks like is going to happen is, because the Fiend now is pretty much jobbed out to Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns is like the guy. The Fiend is probably going to end up feuding with either Jeff Hardy or AJ Styles, and that's probably what's going to happen as the next biggest thing. And then to get the belt on the Fiend, because I think they want him to have a belt, just not the belt. So that's probably what's going to happen. So
I mean, it's a possibility, but I mean, I know that AJ really wants to work with Edge. Maybe it's time to flip him over to Raw again.
He was on Raw, and he didn't want to go on Raw because Paul Heyman was there.
Yeah, but now Paul Heyman's on SmackDown.
Oh, that's fair. That's a fair point.
Flip him back over. And for those of you who are wondering, why does Paul Heyman have anything to do with AJ Styles? For those of us that used to watch AJ's Mixer streams, I think he's on
Rip
Twitch
Mixer.
now. Yeah, rip. Apparently, Paul Heyman is the reason that the Good Brothers, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, got the axe.
Yes.
And what makes it a bit more frustrating for AJ is Paul Heyman lied to his face about his involvement in it. And AJ has openly discussed it. He says he's moved past it and there's nothing he can do and that he's not unhappy in the company. But I don't know, man. I mean, it's rough not to see him used on pay-per-views. It's rough not to see his merch being pushed. It's rough not to see him being used in all the intros. I could, maybe you were right last week. Maybe this is time for AJ to head somewhere else. I'm not sure.
I think so. I think that's going to happen. You know, AJ seems like a man of principle. Obviously, he's a flat earther, so he doesn't really care what people think.
He is not. He just entertained the suggestion when somebody asked him on Mixer, can we put that to bed right now? Everybody knows the earth isn't round anyway. I don't see why this is a big issue.
By the way, we do a conspiracy podcast called From the Dark. New episode coming soon.
Yep.
But yeah, look, man, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if AJ was back in Impact soon or in AEW soon. Now, here's the thing. WWE don't want that. You know, the Brock Lesnar thing is obviously just a case for money where he's just trying to be the best negotiator he can and get a really good deal. AJ, I can more, see that happening where he's just like, look, I'm going, bye, so we'll have to wait and see what happens.
It's tough.
Dude, well, look, if you want to see him, just watch SmackDown every week. Actually, don't watch SmackDown because then the segment won't work. Just watch the AJ segments.
But that's what I do. I mean, I have my DVR set up to record it, but I mean, it just seems like he's having such stellar matches there. A month ago, we had his match against Daniel Bryan.
He's still having stellar matches.
He had a match against Jeff Hardy. Like,
he's still having good matches. It's just
he's having matches that are better than we're on the sham of a pay-per-view payback.
Okay. Let's start there. Right.
Yeah, so let's get into it. Okay. So in case you all are wondering, yes, I'm a bit peeved today.
Okay. This is shocking for me, honestly, because I like this pay-per-view. Now, can I just say the three things that I like about this pay-per-view?
Okay.
One, it was 2.5 hours, which was phenomenal.
They've all been since.
No, I love it though because it's like 2:30 in the morning. I'm like, oh my god, I can go to bed now. This is great. It's brilliant. Fair. I love it. It's nice and breezy. It's all quick. It's out of the way. The matches are fine. It was okay. Look, it was an 8 out of 10 for me, but that's not because it was good.
What are you talking about? It was an 8 out of 10 for like a SmackDown, not for a pay-per-view. I'm not going to let you finish. That's absurd.
It was an 8 out of 10 for me because of what it was. I didn't
5 out of 10, if that.
I didn't think this was a pay-per-view. That's the thing.
Right. So how are you grading it as an 8 out of 10?
I'm grading it as a super show.
You're comparing this to like Starrcade 95.
No, I'm not. I'm not.
That's how you grade a pay-per-view.
This wasn't a pay-per-view. This was a super show.
Well, the super shows are better.
Yeah. No, and the reason why I liked it is because I thought the matches on this were better than SummerSlam for the most part.
What?
Yes. I thought it was a better pay-per-view because the finishes made sense. We actually got resolution for things.
I'm not stopping you. I'm letting you continue. I'm just gonna listen to nonsense for a little bit.
So one, I enjoyed the speed of it. I thought it was nice and breezy. It was grand, right? I liked the matches overall until I didn't, and I thought what they did with Roman Reigns was very entertaining.
I like that. I first of all, I think yourself and myself were completely vindicated for saying that Roman Reigns turned heel.
Yeah.
Because all across the internet, people were mocking people saying that. And, we have a pretty good vibe on what's going on generally. We can tell where characters are heading and everything like that. Yeah. And I know you were a little iffy last week, but you did seem to be on my side. And I don't think there's any question at this point that Roman is certainly a heel. You can't be partnered with Heyman and not be.
Well, it's weird because it's like, it seems like he didn't really know how, like, the heel that we were expecting is not the heel we got, right? Because I like the way he came out at the end, like pretty much when the match was over, and signed the contract and then went in. I thought that was a cool little move. I know some people were saying that was goofy, but I'm like, no, it really adds to it. That
signing the contract made that a legitimate way to do that.
I thought that was great.
If he had already signed, then it would be like, this doesn't make any sense. Yeah, exactly. So I did like that. It was cool.
So I was like, that's actually a really clever way of doing it, But it's more like, with Roman Reigns, I was kind of expecting him to come in with a chair or whatever, and
He
just
did.
no. But hold on, but the way he did it was interesting because he didn't initially use it. You know, like if he'll normally come out and beat the hell out of them when they're down and get the thing. He legit went for a pin, you know, and then he's like, "Oh wait, hold on, I'm not cheating properly. Let me go out and get the chair." And that's what I thought was interesting.
Oh.
It's not the kind of sure of himself monster heel that we normally get, or like some guy that just doesn't care.
Well,
It was
actually,
just,
I felt he was sure of himself. I viewed that as a pure ego move. Like, "Ugh, I don't
oh
even need
really?
this chair. They're already down. I'm so good. I can just go in there and lay on them, and this is over."
Oh, interesting.
That's
Yeah,
how I interpreted
I
it.
suppose you can look at it both ways. I kind of looked at it as in the, oh, I'm not really sure how to do this yet.
Mm.
But actually, both make sense. That's what's so great about this heel turn. You can kind of really go anywhere with it, you know. And I
Yeah.
like the way the whole night, the way Paul Heyman kind of kept everybody guessing if he was going to show up, because obviously he was going to show up, but he's just like, oh, it's on my time, on my terms that I'm going to show up, not because you want me here, that kind of thing. Um, you know how I knew Roman Reigns was winning this, or how the Fiend wasn't winning this?
Because Roman Reigns was booked.
Well, aside from that, well, you know what the big giveaway was?
What was that?
Bray Wyatt came out with the normal belt.
Oh.
Like last time when he won, they went through the trouble of giving him, and of course he probably has that at home,
They gotta
so he
have it
could have just got,
somewhere.
yeah. Like there's no way he got rid of it, but they didn't even bother letting him come out with that. He was just like, "Oh, you're literally keeping this warm for a week," like.
Interesting.
And I'm just like, "Oh well, you know, there's no way." And Braun Strowman has no energy at all to him. I feel so sorry for him because I'm like, man, you're so bad. Like, it's
Well,
just,
the issue is he's such a nice human being.
yeah, it's like you're so bad, and you seem like such a cool guy,
Yeah,
but
that's the thing. Like,
you
I'd
know,
love to hang out with him. I think he's amazing. I
but
just,
it's so unfortunate because it's like you're in this position where you're not given anything, and what you are given is not great. But your role is to do this one specific thing, and it's not going to get you over. And he was put into that match for one reason, to take the pin, and that was it. That was the only reason why
yeah,
he was in that match.
yeah. Now, I thought he
Yeah.
did a pretty good job in the match, all things said.
Oh yeah, it
Um,
was a very decent match, I must say.
it was, it was brutal. It was what you expected from these two. I thought it was better than their SummerSlam match.
A lot better than the
Now, what did you
SummerSlam
think
match.
about the pin, not the pin, the ring break? Because we've seen this. This is the third or fourth time now that we've seen this effect.
I thought that, honestly, when I saw that, I'm like, oh, here comes Retribution. Retribution have done it, right? And then
There
what would
was no
have,
retribution on this
there
card. That
wasn't,
confused
no,
me. I
no,
was so excited to see them for like the first time.
no. Antifa were too busy off burning the town or something down, so they couldn't
Yeah.
make it.
No, Portman
Um,
was too far away.
yeah, Portland's too far away. That's it. They missed their bus. Um, but yeah, no. When I saw that, I was just like, oh, okay, here comes Retribution, and then I thought they would have, you know, that would have set up Roman Reigns' return. That's what I thought was going to happen.
As the leader of Retribution,
Yeah, and that would have
yeah,
made
something could
sense
have
as well,
happened.
right?
Okay,
Because like, oh,
yeah.
this is my belt. I didn't lose it, so I'm leading these guys to kind of take over. But that didn't happen. So when he just walks out, it's like, okay, I guess the ring just broke. You
It had a
know?
lot more impact the first time I remember seeing it, which was Brock Lesnar and Big Show.
Did
I
you
mean,
notice?
that was a holy crap moment for
Did you
sure.
notice? Did you notice the screen kind of shook a little bit, which was kind of cringy?
Oh, did it? Did they do a little camera shake?
Yeah.
Little camera
Here's what's
shake?
weird, right? When I'm watching wrestling in the Thunderdome, it feels like I'm playing the video game. Like I kind of get,
Yes.
yeah. Did you
Yes,
get
it
that too?
does.
I'm
Yeah, yeah,
kind of
yeah,
lulled
yeah.
into like the video game aspect of it, and I think the reason is because they're actually using the sounds from the video game for the crowd noise. From
You keep
2000.
saying that there, but they swear it's the actual sounds from the people at home.
Someone did a video. I'll try to find it and link it. But it's from 2K18. Apparently, that's the one they're using. But it's weird
Okay.
when I'm watching it. I'm kind of lulled
Yeah,
into
because
this
why
sense
use
of,
2K19? Let's just keep styles out of everything.
you know, at least they should use 2K20 and break the whole thing, because that game is just, you
Then
know,
the ring would
hilarious.
break every
Exactly.
match.
Everything would break all the time. Yeah, but look, it's weird. So when that happened, I'm like, I really feel like I'm playing the video game now. Like, it really doesn't
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
real, you know. It's much better than the Performance Center, like by a country mile. But
Oh
it's
yeah, and
still,
I still think
very.
the Fiend's entrance is the best thing going
Oh yeah, that's great.
right
And
now.
I look. It even looks kind of better with all the LED stuff there, so they can kind of do more with it. But I like the beginning of this match where Braun Strowman just shows up and starts beating the hell out of him. It's like, well, I'd be upset too. So
Yeah,
it's just it's
that
like at
worked
least it
for
made
me.
sense. Yeah, like the way the whole thing was put together made sense. It was a very physical match. Braun Strowman wasn't as dumb as he was at SummerSlam, where he tore the ring up and basically beat himself. And look, it got Roman Reigns over. I think this Roman Reigns, he needed this. He needed a bit more of a change. What I would say is, and what I'm
Still no
hope
vest. I want to point out, still no
still no vest,
vest.
but he's not fully there. So what I would say is now get new ring gear, which you're halfway there. Get a new team, and really get yourself away from the Shield and strike out on your own. And then he can actually kind of go it alone rather than hanging on to some of those vestiges because he doesn't need them anymore. He never really needed them. And yeah, I think we have, the real coming out party of Roman Reigns. Like this is what will make him. The problem is who's he going to feud with? Because he can't, like, Bray Wyatt is probably the most over character that they have in WWE now. So they're probably going to get him away from Reigns very quickly, and that's what I'm saying. You'll probably see him in the IC division fairly soon.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff
So
Hardy would be a good opponent because nobody's ever more over as a face than Hardy.
yeah, but like long term, because again, like you have to start feeding stuff to Roman Reigns as well. And he has to have something. He has to have a face to go up against. And yeah, you have Jeff Hardy, but that's it.
That's it.
There's no one else. Like there's,
And they fired everybody else.
Yeah, they fired everybody else. Now, what probably will happen is the draft will come. Well,
It has to come.
Yeah, well, they have Matt Riddle, but I don't think Riddle's there yet, and you don't want to feed him right to Roman Reigns, so he smashes through him and kills him, and that's it.
No,
so
you gotta. This is the hard thing. Like, how do you get? You have a younger crop of guys coming up that are kind of fantastic, honestly, but you can't feed them right to Reigns. So I don't know. This is going to be a tricky one. Something I wanted to add in about him coming at the last moment. It reminded me of Brock Lesnar coming in at the last moment of Money in the Bank.
It also felt like Edge as well. It was a real Edge thing to do as well.
Yeah, so I like that. Well, I'm talking about as Heyman being the manager.
Oh,
I was like, that's a nice callback to them doing that with Brock a couple years ago.
But yeah, it was just, I don't know. I think that's what this was for. I think this is what they wanted. They wanted to have this. Because it's still
what you do.
The placement of it is still so freaking weird, where you're like, we had SummerSlam, and then we had this for no reason. No reason. It's like, well, here's another pay-per-view, which didn't feel like a pay-per-view. As I said, like nothing here felt big. It just kind of felt like a better Raw SmackDown. Actually, if this is what Raw and SmackDown was like every week, or if this was the only bit of wrestling we got, great. This format works. This 2.5 hour format, nice and airy, breezy one. Love it. Fantastic.
I mean, this is essentially, Raw is 2 hours and 20 minutes when you factor in commercials.
Yeah.
So
absolutely, yeah. So this would be great if this is what they did. Cool, man. But I just don't see that happening. I don't see them willing to go there. I don't.
Do you want to cover some of the rest of the cards so we can get away from just being the main event? Roman Reigns.
I don't know. I love the show.
I mean, yeah, I know you do. Okay, well, let's talk.
You hate the show. I don't know.
No, I didn't hate the show. It was just a glorified SmackDown. It wasn't a pay-per-view in my mind.
Can I say something that made me sad though?
Yeah.
I'm sad that Bayley and Sasha lost.
I mean, I'm not sad that I saw Sasha on my TV screen.
Fair. Also,
she is week by week. I don't know what has happened in the past, to me in the past couple months, but she's becoming more and more my favorite. I mean, next to Alexa Bliss, she is becoming more and more my favorite. Yeah.
By the way, did you check out that song by Bowling for Soup yet this week?
Alexa, I did not check out Alexa Bliss. No,
I
forgot. I'm gonna write myself a note right now because I totally forgot.
It's such a great song, honestly, and it kind of captures everything. But
now what was with? Because I guess great, we're back talking about the stupid main event again. What was with her in the main event?
Right, she just shows up, she's just standing there watching it. It's like
it had no payoff.
It had no payoff. Exactly. And when I was seeing her there, I'm like, Okay, that's strange, but I guess she is kind of in the process of turning heel herself.
She was
So
doing the cute like Harley Quinn thing, so
yeah,
like that's a
I don't
heel
know.
character. Are we getting Alexa Bliss with Roman Reigns? I don't. I,
Well, she's turned on, she turned on SmackDown, I believe. So it's
uh,
it's a weird one, but
this is why we
yeah,
don't fantasy book because we can't even figure out what the current booking is.
no, see, that's because it makes no sense. That's the problem. It's just, you can't book something that doesn't make any sense. Well, you can book something that doesn't make sense, but you can't unbook something that doesn't make any sense because it is
Yeah.
what it is. But look, yes, so Alexa Bliss was on the show, so again, that brought it up in my opinion. But
8 out of 10. Go screw
it is.
yourself.
I was sad that Bailey and Sasha lost because I love Bailey. She's great. But what I did like is
I love that finish though.
the
Shayna
finish
Baszler.
was so good. The finish was great because it's like
Whew.
technically she made Bailey and Sasha beat each other, which was incredible. It's like that's
Well, a
really,
whole
really
theme
clever.
of the match was Sasha being used as a weapon against Bailey.
Yeah,
On
and
multiple
on multiple
occasions,
occasions.
I
Yeah,
used her as a weapon, and then it finished with Baszler using her arm as the choke point. And I
so
thought,
clever,
wow,
so
yeah, that
clever.
was actually great booking. So like,
Yeah,
kudos, well done. Now that said, why is Nia Jax in this company?
Nia Jax shouldn't be in any company because she's so dangerous. Like I don't mean in like like a wrestling. It's like no, the woman injures people, so it's like
I don't
why
get her. I don't get her
is
character. I don't understand
well,
why
like, you
she's
see her
tagging with Shayna
character.
and
Well,
she's
she's
wearing it. Why was she wearing Tamina's t-shirt? I'm so confused.
I think they want her to be the new Tamina,
What?
and they want you to kind of forget that it's not Tamina. That's what I hope anyway, because other than that makes no sense.
I don't follow anything you just said. That makes no sense to me.
Right. Shayna Baszler is the whole reason that thing exists, right?
She was the whole tag
Yeah.
team.
Nia
And then
Jax
the thing
can't
at the end with them not being friends, clearly I don't watch the weekly programming, so I was like, what is happening right now?
do you want me to explain it to you?
No, honestly, I don't.
Okay.
Bailey and Sasha didn't break up. Like
No.
what?
No, okay,
We're
right. So
supposed to. Like
so look,
that
so
was
Nia Jax has to be there, right? But they know she has a bad rep. So I think they're just hoping that people think it's Tamina. Right? That's what I think.
that's what you want. That's what
That's what I want. It's what they want because it doesn't make any other sense otherwise. It's like, oh, that's
nobody's meaner
Tamina.
than Tamina. I've sitting there the whole time going, "Oh, Tamina's her tag partner," and then Shayna walked out. I was so
Yeah,
confused.
yeah. So,
Huh,
right. What they want
weird.
is they want the Bailey and Sasha breakup to happen. But obviously they're kind of going slow with it. So they're going with the
Slow.
shot.
This has been going on for like 2 or 3 years.
Man, they don't want to rush it, and that's fair because you
They
haven't
don't
gotten
want
anything
to
else.
rush it. They got to pull the plug at some point.
And they're working up to it. They're finally taking away all the
Roman
belts from
Reigns
all of them.
left, beat leukemia, came back, won his title again, and they're still together.
Man, you don't break up a good thing. It's come on. Look at the Rock and Sock connection.
They hated each other.
Yeah, well, there you go. It still worked. They eventually came around. It takes time, man. You don't want to rush stuff.
Speaking of things that are getting rushed that I'm not a fan of,
Dominic
Apollo
Mysterio?
Crews.
Oh,
No,
okay,
actually, I like that. We'll get there in a second. But Apollo Crews' new character.
Yeah, it's
I
pretty
don't.
bad. It's
I,
pretty bad.
Look,
Oh,
the
man.
cool thing about this pay-per-view is there's so many people on here that I saw wrestle in PWG, from Matt Riddle to Keith Lee to Apollo Crews. I mean, this was the independent promotion that I watched. That's not on a lot of people's radars unless you're really into the independent scene. It's where Excalibur came from. And it's where a lot of the AEW guys come from.
Yeah.
And Apollo Crews was always this super duper athletic, and now they're making him bulk up. It's just not. I just this didn't work for me. This match didn't work for me. Bobby Lashley in general doesn't work for me. The New Nation domination is bizarre. I don't know what's happening.
There's a couple of reasons. See, Bobo is just thinking about who he's going to play golf against next. So Bobo doesn't know where he is most of the time. That's not his fault.
That's because Corbin White's not around. It's not really his fault.
Exactly. It's not his fault. He's just thinking, where am I going to play golf next?
Right.
That's all Bobo. That's all Bobo thinks about. Nothing else. Apollo Crews, on the other hand, well,
he's trying to keep his job, I guess.
Yeah, he's just been like, please don't fire me. No bully. Um,
Yeah.
so, by the way, that's my new favorite hashtag on social media. No bully, please, no bully.
That's a thing.
Yeah, it's so funny. I think it's just hilariously cringe.
Okay,
Um,
fair enough.
yeah, it's my new favorite thing.
I did
Um,
not watch Big E versus Sheamus. I skipped it. I
oh,
watched, by the way, I watched
terrible,
this pay-per-view
terrible.
completely out of order. I watched the main event,
Uh,
then I watched Keith Lee, then I watched
okay,
Matt Riddle, then I watched the Mysterios,
right.
then I
So,
watched
so
I did watch Bobby Lashley like last night live, and then I just fell asleep and said screw it.
no, it's weird because I
I
started
actually
watching
got
this.
no. And this needs to be addressed. I actually got so mad when I looked the card up and saw that AJ wasn't on it that I turned it off after the first match and said I'll watch this for the show when I need to. But
Man,
I'm done.
come
I'm done for now.
on, come on. Yeah, you don't get upset over wrestling. That's half the problem. You got to make fun of it. That's the truth of it. It's the only way you're gonna be
No,
able
this
to
is why we
handle
have a show where we talk about
old wrestling.
old
Exactly,
wrestling, right? Yeah.
exactly.
So that I
And
had
this
this
is
like
why.
also could go back in time and then watch something incredibly entertaining.
Fair, fair. So we'll move through this. So
Yeah.
big, like I actually watched the show live, right? But with Bobby Lashley, I went downstairs to get pizza, and then I came back up and the show was on, and they were halfway through Big E and Sheamus. I'm like, what the hell just happened? I was gone for like 5 minutes. I was like, what happened? Um, yeah, with Big E and Sheamus. So I don't know why Sheamus is dressing like a racial stereotype, like more so. He looks like an itinerant for some
Well,
reason,
I learned on
and I'm like, why? What's going
SmackDown
on?
of May 24th, 2011, that the WWE does not do stereotypes, according to William Regal. So I don't know what
But
you're talking
well,
about.
they do because this is what they have Sheamus walking around like. It's like, man, what's going on? Like this is like a 1950s, 1940s itinerant, man. It's like, come on, man, this is not okay. But anyway, so the Big E came out and he cut a promo saying, oh, I don't have to be serious to win matches, and then he proceeds to be serious to win a match. It's like, okay, guess that makes sense. You know,
Oh,
what are you doing?
Biggie, why? I don't know.
Yeah,
I
so
didn't watch it. I
Biggie,
have no opinion.
so Biggie's whole thing is he's in a single push now because the New Day are all injured, and everyone's saying, "No, you need to be more serious to win a match." And his whole thing is, "Oh no, I can still be myself." But the whole match is him being serious, and he wins the match. It's like, well, that doesn't even make any sense, like at all. Um, Matt Riddle and King Corbin, not a very good match
It was
at
fair.
all.
It was
It was
fair.
all like Baron Corbin. It can do what he can do, and that's about it. Matt Riddle, this feud isn't helping anyone. But hey, it is what it is.
No, but I will say I did appreciate the liver kick
Yes,
being
I
essentially the end of a match. Like I
I like.
loved his because Matt Riddle's a legit MMA guy, so
Yep.
I love the fact that they were incorporating the way you would get hurt in an MMA match into the WWE. And no, I'm not talking about Raw Underground.
No, you
I'm
actually in the ring.
like this actually worked for me. I liked that they did that.
Well, the whole finish was cool, where it set up the bro to sleep and all that kind of stuff. It was
Okay, the
great.
bro to sleep would be a lot cooler if it wasn't on King Corbin because he doesn't know how to bump for anything.
No,
But
it does
what
not.
is that backflip plancha thingamabobber, the bro flip or
The
whatever it's
bro
called?
flip, yeah, it's got or the bro
That's
over or
kind
something.
of
It's great.
that's
Yeah.
cool. I like that.
Matt Riddle's great. Like I really like watching him. But it's a shame it's with King Corbin because there's only so like the bet. Like I love King Corbin's like 2 moves and his theme music, and that's it. Everything else, you're like, all right, if you're not doing
Yeah, I don't
any of
know
those
how he's
things,
lasted this long.
like, fair
Honestly,
play to him, man. Like
he's a
at
really
least he doesn't.
smart guy.
But he doesn't look like a bar. At least he doesn't look like a barman anymore. You know, which
True.
he did
True.
for like a long period of time. But like, it is what it is, you know. Oh, here's the thing, right? If your gimmick was a barman, you could like carry weapons with you, so you'd have like a bar blade and use it to cheat.
Okay.
Just saying, that'd be a good heel gimmick, but you know,
No. Oh, speaking of things that just popped in my head for no reason. I'm gonna go back to the main event for 2 seconds. I hate the fact that Sister Abigail is a throwaway move now.
but that's supposed to be.
No, it's not. It's supposed to be the end all be all. You get hit
Yeah.
with Sister Abigail, lights out, match over. I mean, it was set up as
But look
the
who's in
devastating move, and now you're
but now
taking out of it
no,
constantly.
but now the big move is the mandible claw.
Yeah,
That's
whatever.
like when for example, when okay, So when Bray Wyatt hits Sister Abigail, that's it. When The Fiend hits Sister Abigail, that's not it. It's the stupid thing that they do where if you do a super kick and you're not Shawn Michaels, you kick out.
Right.
That's what it is. And this is why when people do the super kick, it's like it doesn't make any sense. So yeah, just it is what it is.
All right, it is what it is. We talked about the tag. Okay, Keith Lee versus Randy Orton.
I was surprised.
My favorite thing about this match, you were surprised. Like, well, my favorite thing about this match is that because I watched this all out of order and I used the Jump to Match player on the WWE app, the freeze frame that they have of this match is Randy Orton holding Keith Lee in a headlock, and I said, "Wow, this is going to be a great match."
It was not a great match.
It wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad. It just wasn't great. The finish was kind of. It was surprising, but it also was kind of like, oh, right. So this gets Keith Lee over, but doesn't. You know,
he can do a lot more athletically that I would have liked to see included, but I don't think they were trying to like spew it all out at once.
I'm getting big Kevin Owens vibes off Keith Lee now, the way they're booking him, where like you'll have a good run and then that'll be it for a while. So it's just like, oh, okay. We'll just...
Do you remember Kevin Owens' match against Cena, the first ridiculously awesome match against Cena that he had, where he did that moonsault, where he was standing on the second rope facing forward, and then he jumped up to the third rope and then did the moonsault off of it, and it was the most insane move that I think the WWE audience had seen in a while from a guy his size. What happened to that?
Yeah, WWE, man.
What happened to that, man? I missed that. That was a great move.
No, it just is what it is.
Also, where's Kevin Owens?
Just hanging out.
I know he's doing something with McMahon's. I'm not sure what. I read some story.
He's just hanging out. It's the same with like Joe. It's like, oh yeah, you're a commentator because you're injured. Okay, you know.
Owens isn't injured, is he?
No, but he's just hanging out. Like it makes no sense.
Do you think? Do you believe in Keith Lee as a long-term investment, or do you think he's going to be gone in a year or two?
If it wasn't WWE, maybe. But I know Vince is really high up on him and they're giving him a good push, so he has a good chance. But then again, Vince is just like, okay, done now. And he can end up like Garza or whatever, you know, where it's like you were a project for a month and then we let you go. So we just have to see.
Who do you think lasts longer, Riddle or Lee?
Oh, Riddle. Absolutely Riddle. Riddle has a lot more to offer than Keith Lee in the short term. Yeah. And in the long term, you can actually build around him. You can do the same thing with Keith Lee, but you have to handle him carefully because we've seen people like Keith Lee before in the WWE, namely Kevin Owens. Who would be
more of a Bam Bam Bigelow, I would think.
And a Bam Bam Bigelow, exactly. So there is the opportunity to do it, but it's also the opportunity to drop the ball with it. With Matt Riddle,
what do you think happens first? Keith Lee gets fired, or Matt Riddle's forced to wear shoes of some sort?
Oh, shoes! No, what will happen is he'll break his foot. Eventually.
He's going to break, just like with Rusev.
Yeah, he'll break his foot, and that's what he'll be in a ladder match or something like that, and bang, foot broken. But what will happen is the Matt Riddle. I think we have a modern day RVD, where he might not get the push fully, but eventually he will. But he'll be there for the long term. But Keith Lee, it's like if they mess it up, or if they delegitimize his aura and presence, that does so much damage that he won't be able to recover from it. So we'll see. Now I'm hoping both of them do well because I think both of them you could build a company around the two of them. But WWE messes up a lot, so this is something that they could do and something they have done in the past. So I'm always cautiously optimistic, but still the caution is there.
And then I guess this leaves us with the Mysterio son and father versus Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy, or just Murphy now, I guess.
I hate Dominic.
I gotta say, Dominic
is so lame.
Okay, hold on.
So lame.
Here's the thing. Dominic has some cool offense.
He does. And look. I don't want to be mean to the Unflurry because it is what it is.
No, you are. You don't even try and pretend.
I'm trying not to be mean to him because it's like he's out living his dream and he's having a good old time and that. But it's like
been in the company since he was like 3.
He looks like a creator wrestler.
Right, you said that. Hold on.
But he really, really feels like a career wrestler. I'm like, now we've gone from having...
No, I don't think he does.
Oh, he does.
I've never created a wrestler without muscles.
Oh God. Oh man. Okay, and I'm being mean.
I'm just saying.
And I'm being mean. No, it's just he feels
no,
like
he just needs to do like his dad did, do some steroids, get a suspension, come back jacked.
Yeah, maybe wear a mask and I
don't know if he needs to wear a mask.
He does need to wear a mask, man. He does. Come on. Like he's a very small Kevin Nash insult.
What? Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's a small Kevin Nash insult, and it's like, I'm like, oh man, like he.
I mean, there's a reason he's wearing chest armor, and it's not because it looks cool as a design.
It doesn't look cool either. It looks really lame.
It's better than without. Was it you that sent me the like father like son meme?
Yes.
Yeah. Was it with him and Eddie Guerrero doing the frog?
He does the frog splash really well, though.
Yeah, I mean Sasha does it better, but he does it okay.
But I'm just like, my big thing.
I do like his 619. With two things about it. A, have you noticed he does it to the opposite side that Ray does?
Yes.
And also, I love his out of the ring variation.
He does it so much better than Ray, because he follows it up with the frog splash, which is a much better finish. Because the way he does, like, I always hated when Ray would do it because he do the stupid body drop, and that looks absolutely terrible.
Or he'd do the seated senton, in which you have to wait for your opponent to get back up.
Yeah,
and it's like, well, they've recovered.
They've recovered, exactly. It's like you're not capitalized on it. So it's
your power meter is like going.
Exactly, yeah. So at least when he does it, it's like, oh, this is the way you probably should have done it all the time. But anyway.
But what I wanted to say was he has great offense. He just doesn't sell very well.
He doesn't sell very well. He's not believable.
I mean, he sells great when he's getting like demolished with kendo sticks. Don't get me wrong.
That's because he's getting demolished with kendo sticks.
Right. I'm saying with Riddle Pain, he sells great.
Yeah, it's like if you actually hurt him, he sells. But that's not the point of being a wrestler.
No. Wait, this is all constructive criticism, by the way. I actually think Dominic Mysterio could stay around for a little bit.
Look, he can stay around, just not as Dominic Mysterio. Like, it's very intimidating. It's not very intimidating when the commentator's like, go get him, Dom. It's like, okay. Like, be a character. Like, this is the problem with it. My dad actually said it to me in the car yesterday, because Triple H apparently retired, which he did not. That's fake news. And he's like, there's no character wrestlers anymore. I'm like, yeah, right.
Baffled as to how you got a Triple H reference into the show. Just baffled.
And it's just, there's no character wrestlers anymore. I'm like, yeah, there's very few. If, like, literally, I think The Fiend is probably the only one, and the rest of them, But
this is this card. I mean, you got Matt Riddle is.
No, Matt Riddle's just Matt Riddle, man. Like, All
right. What about King Corbin?
King Corbin's a barman with a crown.
Well, that's a character.
It's not a character because he didn't lean into it. I'm telling you, if they gave him a bar blade and his whole thing was he'd, snakily take out a bottle and hit them with it.
I'm really searching, so clearly you're right, because I am I'm pulling at straws here.
It's very difficult to do that. It's very difficult now to actually do that, and that's the problem, right? So it's the same thing, like to do. It's the same thing when you go see a band play, right? And they give you the best band in the world, particularly in metal, and the lads are up there and they're playing, but they're just lads in t-shirts and jeans. There's no show, right? Now, there can be...
That is King Corbin.
No, but there can be a crutch, right, where you rely too much on the show and there's no substance. And what I think it's a similar thing here, where there's no difference between the person and the wrestler, And it's something that they could lean into. And Dominic Mysterio, 9 times out of 10, it's fine with Keith Lee and Matt Riddle and guys who are already there, right, and established. Same with AJ Styles, right? With Dominic Mysterio, he is Dominic Mysterio, and that's it. He's the son of Eddie Guerrero. He's the son.
Kayfabe lives.
Kayfabe lives. He's the son of Rey Mysterio, allegedly,
But
And
that's the whole angle they could do. There's no way anybody
yeah,
would remember
there's
it.
no
But
way. Yeah, exactly. But that's it. That's all he's been introduced as. That's
they
all that
need
we
to.
know
Why
about
do
him.
you use the frog splash? Well, it's in honor of my dad, and then you get the Dominic versus
Exactly.
Ray Ray
Exactly.
feud.
Brought back. Yeah. It's just I think if
Will we get
yeah,
that? We're gonna get that, right? Dominic versus Ray.
well, I'd say so. And if they do
Yeah.
it that way, that would actually kind of make him because now he's just comes. It's like bring your son to school day, so your son to work, and that's what it
Right.
feels like.
Right.
It's like
Yeah.
why is he there? Like it's just because I don't buy him as a wrestler. I don't buy him as anything other than you know one of the wrestler's kids, and that's
He's just
bad.
green. He just needs to bulk
No,
up. And oh my god, I
honestly,
sound like freaking JR, but he just needs to bulk up and learn how to sell a little bit more and
you know what would be better for him at this point?
figure out some charisma.
Go to Japan,
Go to
go to
Japan.
Mexico,
Yeah.
and work the indies for a couple of years, and then because
Go.
it's not like WWE are going to be like, yeah, no. He should just say, look, I need to go learn how to be a wrestler.
Yeah.
Go off, get yourself a cool gimmick, come in, go to Japan for 2 years, come back, you'll be a monster, and then there you go. Doing it this way, I don't see anything long term. And
Japan will toughen you up, but I mean, even AAA or CMLL down in Mexico, that would give you a lot of
big palette,
lucha training. Yeah,
a big palette to learn. Exactly. Even go hang out with Lance Storm for a while.
Well,
like,
we don't want to be that vanilla.
No, no. I mean, like with improving in the ring and selling and
stuff. I know. I got you.
It's just, I feel really sorry for him because he's getting this way too soon, and it's going to be the overall impression that people are getting, where it's like, man, you're not there yet, and even if you are there, you're there as Rey Mysterio's kid, but there's nothing else.
I thought he did a lot of stuff great, though. I mean, it wasn't.
No, see, this is why it's all constructive criticism. It's just like, it's WWE, man. They're not giving, like, they should have just said, look, we'll do this angle and then we'll take you off for a while. We'll have you written off screen, come back in, do a massive heel turn, or you're this crazy lucha wrestler or whatever. Even dress him up like a Power Ranger and tell him to come out because he's skinny enough to be one. It's just, but they won't do that, and he'll be gone by the end of the year. That's my prediction. Gone by the end of the year.
Seth Rollins was great.
Yeah, he needs to drop that Messiah gimmick though. I'm very sick of it now at this point.
Can we take a hard break and just move on to good wrestling?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, like this is it. This is why we do rewind shows, because WWE
you guys are welcome for the last 5 minutes of us just not at all liking this. But at the same time, like, I did enjoy seeing this wrestling. There was some really cool stuff that did happen. I just felt like it was a glorified SmackDown. So as a pay-per-view, I give it a 4 or 5 out of 10. I don't know where Garrett is. I don't know how many tabs he took in order to give this an 8 out of 10.
How about this?
Yeah, how about this?
As a pay-per-view, I would give it a 5 out of 10.
All right. Well, there we go.
As a show, I would give it 8 out of 10 because I enjoyed it from what I saw. But WWE, please build your pay-per-views. Please build it like it's a pay-per-view and not just a random show for no reason that makes no sense.
Here's what I understand. I don't understand how I liked this show more than you did, but you think it was a better show than I thought it was. That's what I gleaned from our whole conversation.
What I liked about it was
getting pizza was apparently your favorite part of this whole show.
No, my favorite part of the show was when I go to bed after it. That's why I like going to bed at 2:30. That's what pizza is great all the time, but you usually get, good pizza is not going to make a show better. That's just going to make it tolerable. But yeah, no, being able to go to bed at 2:30 is really good, particularly when I have work the next day in a video shoot. So yeah, man, that's what I got to say about it. If this had been 4 hours, I probably would have kicked my TV down the street. Because no. Please don't do that to me again, WWE. Right, we're going to take a break, and when we get back, we're going to talk about something good. So, guys, we'll see you after this very quick break. And we are back to here on the Wrestling Rewind. Again, I haven't done ads yet, Dave. I will.
Yeah, no, I'm sure you will. I'm sure I'll still be on the show by the time you do ads.
Eventually ads will be done. So we're going to go back 20 years or 19 years to WWE.
Good Lord. I just realized how long ago that was.
Yes, 19 years ago, May 24th, 2001, when WWE was still known as WWF. And this is SmackDown. Commentators were Michael Cole and Taz. Ring announcer Tony Chimmel, which I actually didn't realize Tony Chimmel was on the show at this point.
Oh, yeah.
And it was the scene of the third ever TLC match. Do you laugh the way I say third? Yeah.
There was that. I tried to stifle it. I tried to stifle it.
It's just like, man, I'm Irish. Come on, like, this is just how we speak.
It's fine. I'm sure there's plenty of things that I say that listeners on Phoenix FM are like, what is he possibly trying to say right now? So I get it.
Okay, so this wasn't SmackDown Extreme, which is another show which we'll talk about.
Yeah, you confused me with that. I was like, what is he talking about? But I did like this show.
Yeah, SmackDown Extreme is when they replaced all the ropes and pretty much made it look like Raw, but it was called SmackDown Extreme. I will try to find that. We'll probably talk about that after Adam's show, because I do like SmackDown Extreme. This was something else. This was
We're doing that next Tuesday, by the way.
What? With Adam?
Yeah. Are we? So I gotta watch a lot of Japan this weekend. Okay.
Yeah, that's the plan. Thanks. And if not, we will do SmackDown Extreme, because that's also fun. So once we confirm, we'll let you know on our social media. Yeah, so look.
Okay.
This was a show. This was a show that came after the ratings drop that happened pretty much when Austin came out and killed all the Hardys and Lita with a chair, like absolutely decimated them. So the ratings fell through the floor because people don't like watching men destroy women in general. So
this was also heel Austin time. This was not.
Yeah, but this is when the line was crossed where Austin literally just killed Lita with a chair, and it wasn't good. So the ratings fell through the floor. So this was WWE's reaction to it, where they're like, "Look, we have to get people back watching the show, week to week." And
nothing does that like Kurt Angle versus Spike Dudley.
Well, nothing does that like a TLC match for some reason.
Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right.
And remember, we'd only seen 2 before this point. So,
no,
we'd only seen 2 TLC. Yeah, well, look, the others don't count because they're not TLC matches.
Yeah, but come on, the WrestleMania match that happened in this same arena, not too shortly before.
But that was a triangle ladder match.
It was a triangle ladder match. However, it is whenever they show TLC matches, it's the shot of Edge spearing Jeff Hardy that they always show.
But that was a TLC. That was at WrestleMania 17. That was a TLC match.
What the heck was the
triangle ladder match? Was WrestleMania 2000. The first ladder match with
that's not where that spot was.
No, that was from WrestleMania 17. Yeah,
I know wrestling.
It's okay.
I'm qualified.
See, this is the time period. You didn't watch at this point, man. This is why we're doing this.
I've seen this stuff.
Yeah.
For some reason I mixed
it up. But you don't understand. This is ingrained in my memory.
Gotcha.
I don't need to watch this again. It's already there. So yeah, I know it quite well. Because of my childhood, basically. But what was interesting about this was finally Jericho and Benoit had teamed up as a theme. So they never actually done it before. They had a phenomenal ladder match at Royal Rumble at the start of the year, which if you haven't seen it, absolutely go see it. It's unbelievable. So to see them in the mix here was super cool. So yeah, Benoit, Jericho, Edge, Christian, the Dudley Boys, the Hardys for the WWF World Tag Team Championships in a table, ladders, and chairs match. Now, Dave, what do you think about this? Like, as a match first, what did you make of this?
Okay, not comparing it to the other TLC matches.
Not yet. We will get to it.
Okay,
yeah, standalone. Yeah.
It's cool because I have to take myself back in time and remember that this is the first time TLC was ever on broadcast television. Yeah. This is the first time that they ever did one of these matches in front of a much larger audience than would have tuned in for a pay-per-view. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, that said, the person who had to recap wrestling for many, many, many years in me gets annoyed every time I see a ladder get set up not under a belt, because I'm going, okay, what spot's coming out of here right now? And there was a lot of that in this match.
There was
an obscene amount of setup in this match.
But that's what these matches were. These were just spot fest. Like the whole point of this was for lads to kill each other for 90 minutes.
Right. No, I get that. I do understand that, but I think the suplex that, oh my gosh, I can't remember who it was. I think Bubba delivered to one of the Hardy Boys, maybe.
Yeah,
off the ladder. I think it was to Jeff. Yeah,
it was Jeff. It was off a ladder.
Because Matt had done it the Twist of Fate to Jericho. Okay, so I thought that was a perfect move, and that was a move that made me go, "That's insane." Because first of all, why on earth would you take that? Other than the fact that they were 20 years younger than they are now. I did not like Edge spearing Jericho off the ladder. I thought that made no sense. Like, why is Jericho reaching for the title when he's 10 feet away from it? So, as a match itself, oh my gosh, it was fun. I loved it. I would watch this every week if it wouldn't mean that wrestlers would be constantly out with injury. I don't really have any complaints about it. I mean, I can be smarky and complain, oh, there were lots of setups and stuff, but so what? It's wrestling. Let there be. I don't mind. I would have liked to see more done with now, see, it's hard not to compare. I would like to see a lot more done with tables because they'd incorporate them in really cool ways in the past. But other than that, it was fun. I will say, I appreciate the fact that in early ladder matches, the title or whatever seemed to be suspended higher above the ring than it is nowadays. Nowadays, it feels like you can go up to the third rung from the top and reach it. And it seems like in early ladder matches, you had to go up to the second rung from the top. And I think that just adds to the peril.
Yeah, it was for a number of reasons. The main one being the guys didn't, they were like, no, we're actually gonna go for this, and we're gonna try to do some crazy spots, and that's what they did. Like a lot of two things that you can notice from an early 2000s, late 90s Attitude Era match is that they were always trying to top, right? So even though this was on broadcast television, it still was a TLC match.
This was better than anything we watched on Payback.
Oh man, it was anything we watched. It was better than anything we watched all year from 2020.
Well,
for the most part. So look, and even ladder matches today, even going to the ladder match at WrestleMania, was better than that. And there was a lot of set up with that too. But you had 4 of the best teams ever, and I would say Jericho and Benoit are up there as 2 of the best anyway. But when they teamed, it was so fluid and natural that you're like, wow, why aren't these guys teaming all week? But then you realize they're Jericho and Benoit, so why would they team? And it just, I think having those 2 guys in as main eventers, because at this point they were main eventers. Jericho would win both belts at the end of the year, to put it into perspective. It added that extra.
That's one of the things that hit me watching this. I was like, this is Jericho's gotten his initial big pop of coming to the company, but this is pre-Jericho being, oh, I'm better than everybody, Jericho. So this is kind of like an interphase Jericho, which I really enjoyed seeing.
This is my favorite Jericho, because this is my childhood Jericho.
Okay.
Rockstar Chris Jericho, where he did the Ayatollah of rock and roll. That's for me. That's my favorite Jericho.
Oh, those promos against Stephanie. They're so good.
Oh, fantastic! And this is the era of that.
Yeah.
It's also May, so it's pre-invasion for the most part as well.
Teased it a little.
Absolutely. But they still wasn't. It wasn't happening yet. That wouldn't happen until the summer. WrestleMania, like obviously the purchase of WCW had happened, WrestleMania had happened, the purchase of ECW had happened, or else it was just about to happen. So we're starting to get this would kind of be the swan song, like the swan song of the Attitude Era had already happened at WrestleMania. So this is kind of like the reset before they went into the actual final
Yeah.
run of the Attitude Era.
That's so weird because there's nobody nowadays. There's no company that WWE would make a big deal about buying.
Actually, one thing that said it, right? So there was a promo on, to go back to Payback, there was a promo on Payback of all the companies that they had bought. And you're like, oh yeah, none of this matters. It's like, none of this matters. You know, it's just, it's funny.
No.
It's funny.
No, it really doesn't. Because, I mean, WWE, why would they make a big deal out of buying like an AEW? The AEW is not beating them in the rate. Well, not beating them.
Actually, that's a good point. That's a good point, right? So for years, there was a whole thing that Impact would be bought by WWE. And it was like, oh, what would that mean, really?
Right.
And I think people were like, oh, would there be an invasion? Not really. Kind of what we see now, where they play footage of AJ Styles. Actually, did you see that? What's Abyss's real name? Chris Park.
Joseph Parks.
Yeah, did you see that he's back on
Joseph A. Parks? Yeah.
Yeah,
he's AJ's lawyer.
He's on AJ's lawyer, which is amazing.
I love it.
But yeah, so that's kind of what would happen if WWE had bought TNA.
I did appreciate there was like some reference where they were asking, or I was watching WWE's The Bump,
right?
And they had asked AJ about, where'd you find this Joseph Parks guy? Like, has he been in the area for a while? And AJ was just like, yeah, he's been hanging around Orlando for a couple years, and he felt like the right thing, and it was like a cool little like play at it. But
that's good. I'm
saying like WWE would just do what they did with people like Styles and Eric Young and Bobby Bobby Roode and like all them. They would just wait for the company to collapse and then collect them.
And that's kind of what I think would happen if they bought AEW.
I don't think they would buy AEW. They would just go, okay, you want some money, Omega? Come on over. You want some money, Rhodes? Go screw yourself. Like, it would. I think that's how it would go, honestly. I don't think it would be this big, like, here come Omega and the Bucks to take over.
Yeah, no, I don't think that would happen because, again, the reason why WCW was such a big deal was because they beat WWE.
Right.
ECW, in reality, I know we like the kayfabe, but ECW are always WWF.
Yeah, they were being paid by WWE.
It was literally just, which is so ironic, really, when you think about it. You're like, wow, this was just a scam that Paul Heyman was running.
He was running a scam the entire time.
He was running a scam, just working everybody.
And he couldn't even pay all of his talents.
No, it was literally just a WWE firm that he had worked everybody into believing that it wasn't. And I was just like, this is amazing.
It's the best way to do it ever. There was a segment on Raw, I think years ago now, where Jericho was actually got in an argument with Payman. It's like, I want my $50. Like from like 2000 or something like that. Or early 90s, late 90s. Like,
man. I just think it's so funny that, there was that mentality for years. It's like, oh, ECW was nothing like WWF. It's like, yeah, but it was funded by them. It's like,
it was.
And now we know, like, absolutely that was the case.
Yeah.
That's why they were there, because again, it was a WWE property,
Yeah.
So it really kind of does make you think, gets the noggin jogging. Right. We are at time here on the radio. So we're going to take a second break.
Oh man!
And go into overtime, which again, I promise the ads are coming.
If you're going to be an advertiser, and by the way, follow me on Instagram because this never gets on the stupid radio part. I mean, the great radio part, but it never gets on there. Is what I'm saying. The stupid ad never just. D. Dave Stevens, follow me.
D. Dave Stevens, follow Stevens. And look here, because I don't know what you're doing, because you should be listening to us live anyway. We tape every Tuesday, or record live every Tuesday on Twitch, YouTube, all that kind of stuff. Go over to Nerd Media for more. And we'll be back next week here on Phoenix 92.5 FM, and we're going to swing back to finish this review in overtime. We'll see you in a second. Right, and we're back.
What on earth do we have to talk about? Stay tuned, everybody. Great stuff is about to occur.
I have a cool little overdrive thing that I made that I do pop in post. So You know,
Oh.
you get to enjoy that. And it's literally just a case of putting it to video, but I haven't done that yet. Again, look, guys, support us. Give us some money so, you know, I can justify spending the time to do these things because it takes ages to do video. So if you want to support, us, the best way to do it is you can PayPal us or you can go get us at Ko-fi.com. It's on the link there.
I don't even know what that is, but do it.
Yeah, it's you know, it's all good. Right. What I want to finish up here, Dave, is so as a match that compared to other ladder matches, where would you put this?
It's hard because that's like saying was Shawn Michaels versus Razor Ramon like the best ladder match ever? No, but it was, you know, one of the first WWE at least. So like, yeah. So it's tough from that perspective. I when I look at like what a great TLC ladder match or TLC match would be, first of all, interested.
You're a fan of the
tables,
stairs,
ladders, and chairs.
Or the chair. Remember the big chairs that they used? It was like, what is this?
No, I mean, because you've got. I thought the second one was probably the best.
Yeah, I agree.
That they did the talking about this era, and then I feel like TLC matches that we've seen as of late, it's kind of been how do we do what the originals did without copying them. I think the best one in the recent memory was probably like, what was it, 2016 Moxley versus Styles. I mean, that was
great match.
That was a great match. Nobody was expecting to see a springboard 450 to the outside of a ring through a table. Nobody was expecting Moxley to go back to his CZW finisher and throw Styles through stacked up chairs. I mean, this was crazy. So I liked that, and it felt different. So I feel like modern day TLC matches have to feel different in order to be memorable, versus this one was kind of setting the standard bearer that you would then judge matches against in later days.
But modern day WWE TLC matches kind of have, you know, unless you have a performer in there like in AJ Styles, they're very nerfed. Because TNA did a similar thing with the Full Metal Mayhem matches where they went their own way with them and they always felt unique. Like a TLC match, it's very easy to fall into it. Like we saw that at WrestleMania where there was a massive setup and that finished the match. But there was no crazy spots because stuff that these guys did, and I understand, you know, it's not worth going in and killing yourself or, you know, for a match.
Another huge difference. Stuff was not as gimmicked back then.
No, they're now. Absolutely.
Those ladders were ladders.
Were ladders. There was no sawdust. They were actually hitting each other with ladders and chairs and everything. And it was just, you know, you look like, I know it's hard to separate it, so I'm not going to use them. But even look at, you know, these guys are retired now. Look at the state of Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy, the Dudleys, Edge and Christian. Like, you know, this is one of the reasons like Edge was retired for a while because he did so many of these matches.
Oh my gosh, how about that chair shot that Jericho took from Edge?
Oh my God! Like you see those chair shots and you cringe because you know the damage that it's done. You know
that's why I cringed when Perry Saturn earlier in the show came out and was doing like a whole like, oh, I'm concussed thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if that's
not
funny.
Good.
Is that funny? And then they're like, oh yeah, Jericho's getting over a concussion from last week. I'm like, what? What are you doing?
Well, one of the worst things about that was there was a match with Rhino and Raven from Backlash. Okay. And it's actually a phenomenal match, but there's a bit where there's a call from Jerry, of course there is, where Rhino takes a shot with something. He's like, oh, his brains have been scrambled so much he's going to forget where he lives, and you're like, that's horrific. Like, don't joke about it. You know, it's just absolutely. You're just sitting there going, oh my God. And I know in the Jerry the King lexicon of things, that's like very tame. But it's like, oh, you know, does not age well.
Yeah, this is the first time I think I watched an old show where I didn't have too many cringe moments on commentary, and maybe it's because it was Taz and
Taz and Michael Cole.
It wasn't
King. Yeah, it wasn't King. So it's just like you're in good hands that you're not going to have cringy. Also, no funny signs, which was disappointing. We'll have to dig out a good show so we can.
Kane, by the way, was a monster.
Kane, this is Kane's peak as well. 2001.
Peak, yeah,
unbelievable.
Oh my goodness,
I love Rhino matches. Like in general, Rhino's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. It just works really well with Kane.
He just looks so weird.
What Rhino does?
He's got the weirdest body shape, man.
It does, but it's weird.
And it makes him a character, though, and I think it helps.
Well, he's not super big, but he's not super small, but he's able to work with both, and that's what I like about him.
He's
like,
just...
he can have a great...
He's like some weird wrecking ball with muscles in places that I don't think muscles exist.
Yeah, and he can have a great match with the small guys or with monsters, and both are very believable. He's great. I love Rhino. And even to this day, he's still phenomenal. He's still killing it.
Absolutely.
And some other highlights on this. The intergender tag match is skip that. There's nothing to watch.
No, but you can watch the backstage segment with Trish Stratus.
Yes, you can. And it's funny because this is before Trish Stratus became an actual wrestler. So this is what she did. And you're like, right, we're in the Attitude Era kind of still.
Kind of.
But the right to censor, if
can we talk about the pyro going off when Trish Stratus decides to do the worm?
Yeah.
Like what?
It's so mature. So mature.
So mature.
And if King had been there, he would have been screaming. All the stuff. So it's just like that's probably why he wasn't there, because Taz was able to control himself.
Somebody was like, keep the camera on Trish, and that was as glued as he got. So I appreciate that.
So it wasn't too bad. Kurt Angle killed Spike Dudley.
Absolutely demolished him.
Absolutely demolished him. And then for some reason, X-Pac beat Eddie Guerrero, and this is when the weird period before Eddie Guerrero was like injured again. So it's like, okay.
Whenever I watch, especially wrestling from around like 2016 to 2018 in the independent scene, I see a lot of moves and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've never seen those before. But now going back and watching this stuff from that millennial period, Eddie did a move where he flipped over the guy's back because he was standing there. And I was like, oh, like these moves aren't new. They just stopped doing them for 10 years and now they're bringing them back.
No, what happened was the young fellas that were watching it, who were wrestling then, grew up watching this,
right,
and then started copying.
But then why was there a gap? Was it just Eddie got too old to do that kind of thing?
No, a little bit, but also the style of wrestling had moved away from that.
Right.
Because think about Eddie died 4 years after this.
Right, 2004, right?
2004, 2005. So there was no one to do these moves with. Right. And then the style had moved around 2006, 2007 to being a more kind of big hoss kind of stuff with Batista and Cena leading the pack. So,
and JBL.
Yeah. So there you go. Like that's why it was.
Yeah, I guess so. It wouldn't really fit in as well.
It wouldn't fit in. So
it's still weird to see Perry Saturn on a card, because I remember the 10-year, 15-year stretch where nobody knew where Perry Saturn was.
Because he was,
you remember that?
But he was off saving people. Apparently, saved a bunch of women from being raped and stuff. So
right. But
hero.
I'm not. Yeah, he is. Yes, but I'm saying, do you remember that period where people were like, we have
nobody knew where
Perry
he was.
Saturn is.
No, nobody knew where he was.
Off the face of the earth.
Yeah, but that's what he was doing. He was pretty much a vigilante,
Yeah.
It's like, all right, fair enough, man.
Right, we know that now, but at the time, people were legitimately concerned.
Yeah, no, he was just off kind of being like weird homeless Batman,
A weird homeless Batman.
Yeah.
If Batman was homeless, he never could have afforded to be Batman.
No, absolutely not. No. But yeah, so look, man, I enjoyed this. I enjoyed this a lot more than Payback. So I don't know, I'm kind of glad we had a palate cleanser, because that show would have just been negative.
Yeah, and this is what we mean by we're the only fans that don't hate wrestling,
because we don't watch
so much wrestling out there to watch and enjoy. You don't have to hate it. Can you be me? Can you go on Facebook and rant about the fact that AJ Styles wasn't on the pay-per-view and get 20 comments? Yeah, that'll happen. People tell me to watch Impact, but whatever. So the point is,
see, the thing about it is, it's this show is great because we don't have to watch. We personally choose when we want to drop in and watch modern wrestling.
Derek chooses. I'm currently banned.
There's a reason why you're banned. There's a reason why. I choose until you make better choices, and then you're okay.
Yeah.
Still, it's gonna take a while to get over that, Dave. But
listen, y'all should go watch World War III.
Do not go to watch World War III again. To this day, I'm like, why did he want us to watch it? And it was for one moment,
for one match. Fun match.
Yeah, but like, you know, we have a bunch of good stuff coming up. There's no WWE pay-per-views until Clash of Champions, which
Thank
is
God.
they messed up the actual date apart, like on the show. I was watching it.
That.
No, I was watching it and I'm like, wait, hold on, what just happened? And I went back and I'm like, oh, they absolutely messed up the date. So apparently it is on the 27th, which 2 days before my birthday. So woo.
Oh yeah, well, if it's 2 days before your birthday, that means that Tuesday we'll have to have not a show on Tuesday.
fair enough. We'll take it off.
I'll figure it out.
But yeah, so that's kind of the only WWE wrestling we have coming up, and I think AEW is doing a show for a while. So
they did one this weekend. We just didn't recap it.
Yeah.
They did. Apparently, there was a mimosa match.
I don't know.
There was something with Orange Cassidy and somebody else, and the loser got thrown into a vat of champagne and orange.
Look, I'm happy just not knowing that's a thing, because I just.
So now who's not following the news?
No, I follow the news to a point, but I'm like AEW is just, you know, when I dropped out of AEW basically as like a week-to-week fan is when I went to Disneyland over in Christmas.
Yes,
and I was working so much because it was Black Friday and stuff like that. And for me, that's the end of the year, right? But I hadn't watched AEW in like 4 or 5 weeks, and I didn't miss it once. And I was like, oh, okay. And that's when I realized AEW really isn't all it's cracked up to be. But anyway, that's a different conversation. But what I will say is, for anyone who's listening, guys, if you're listening on YouTube, Twitch, or if you're checking us out on the audio streams, let us know what you want us to cover, because this is important. Like we pick the show basically a week out, unless it is a pay-per-view or something like that, and we kind of decide. So let us know in the comments below. Email us nerdtoknowmedia@gmail.com. Tweet either myself or Dave. You can tweet Dave at @DDaveStevens, or you can tweet me at RWB, or you can tweet the show. All this kind of stuff you can do. And we will, if we can get access to it. So if it's on the network, that's fine. Otherwise, we'll be able to find it. And yeah, we will 100% do it. So we have a good 4 to 5 weeks, I think. Yeah, about 4 weeks where we're just going to be covering other stuff as well. So let us know what you think. Next week, more than likely going to have Adam on to talk some Japanese Brock Lesnar. And then the week after, we don't know. SmackDown Extreme probably. But that's still tentative. So, Dave, is there anything you want to add before we get out of here?
No, there's not.
Just
make sure you all go on the W Network and watch World War III.
All right, guys. Well, we'll be back next week here, same time.
And sign a petition to get Styles back in the WWE. I think
he hasn't gone anywhere. He's still there.
He might not be there. I'm not sure.
He's still there. If AJ Styles is listening, please tell Dave that he's still here, because he doesn't watch SmackDown. So.
Don't.
Guys, we'll see you next week here on the Wrestling Rewind. Bye, guys.